I mean, what tools, and this is kind of rhetorical because we're not supposed to engage in good offline conversation, but I do think it's important to mention that it's got to be a holistic approach. And 40 homes on Clovercroft, which I think, depending on what final plan they submitted, I may or may not be in support of. That's not the straw that's going to break the camel's back. If there's 200 in the unincorporated county that are being built, and there's really no stopping that, or no brakes on that either. So, points well taken, and you've always been great to talk through real solutions. But I think that's got to start being part of the conversation, because and it doesn't seem to be. It seems to be that municipalities are the ones. So we've got to really look at this holistically and then solve the problems. So stop talking about it. So I'm looking forward to the Brentwood solution. I think this board is probably very willing to come up with some kind of solution on that. You got to have something to grab hold of, and I think that's how you feel too. And you've always felt that way. And a solution-oriented commissioner, I appreciate that.
On your thoughts.
Thank you, Chair. And Commissioner, thank you very much for coming and speaking. We know that you're investing time away from other priorities that you have to come and speak publicly about this, and we value that. I agree with what Alderman Baggett said, and I'll go one step further. This area that we're talking about on Clovercroft is just north of the border of my ward, of Ward 3. But I'll go ahead and volunteer my time if we want to put together a task force of county and Franklin. And if we bring in Brentwood, that's great, but I'll go ahead. I'd rather focus right now, task force with Franklin and with county commissioners to start. And I feel like the conversations are there. We're just not all at the table at the same time having these conversations. So I'd volunteer to actually help to be part of that, because even though it's outside of my ward, it does have an impact on the traffic that Alderman Berger and I share, where our wards are right there along 96 and getting on to 65. So I think there are some solutions, but I also do think that there are some greater growth outside of the small area that we're looking at between 96, Clovercroft, and Wilson Pike that also add a lot of traffic to that area. But if you've got a list of people, we can talk after this meeting. And Walter, if that's something that we can start within the city and the county, I think this is the time to definitely move it forward.
May also be something if you want to address briefly at the joint city-county meeting on Monday night. On June 29th?
Yeah, we could do that.
I think that's a great idea. I will speak directly to that piece of it. I, unfortunately, Commissioner, will be out of town on that Monday, but I will stay the course and say I'll serve on that task force if one of my peers will actually speak to it on Monday.
Yeah, I think that would be a good opportunity to look at.
That would be great. We can bring it up. Plus, Commissioner Lawrence wants to put this on the CIP agenda to have more of a longer discussion. And I invited him to come and have public comment tonight, so it would put it on our radar.
That's great.
So we'd be thinking about it. And as I said before we tried this, we didn't go very far. But we do have a new administration coming in. We've talked to them about it already, trying to figure out where we'll go from there. And some of those people are very interested in having the discussion and trying to be problem solvers with it. And I think your point, Alderman Baggett, is really important, because there's about 1,000 homes approved. And Greg, you need to sit outside. I can't see you. Quit hiding behind that podium. I like to see a person's face when I'm talking to them. Thank you. But anyway, we know there's about 1,000 homes out there that have been approved or being built and haven't been built yet. So he's right. We've got traffic coming up there. And then when Market Street opens, by the way, at the end of the year, then they're going to be taking Market Street and coming down Clovercroft, even further down Clovercroft. So I don't think when Popular Farms gets built out, when McEwen gets built out, we're still going to have the volume of traffic. So we'll talk about that. I'll get it on the agenda. Walter, I'd like to put that on the agenda for next month's CI. Are we having a CIC meeting in July?
Yeah.
You want to have Clovercroft discussion on there?
Yeah, I'd like to add that.
Yep.
And have, Greg, if you're will you be in town at the end of July? think it's the,
We'll be on vacation part of.
it's the 23rd, I believe.
Yeah,
Oh.
so it says it's 23rd. I think I'm on vacation.
I may or may not be here for that too. So we might want to
August.
move it to August.
Okay.
Let's move it to August. I think maybe August or somewhere in there. We'll get to it.
So that's August 27th.
Well, let's look at that.
Okay.
We've got to, I think you and I need to be here for that. But let's talk and let's move it to either, I'll get back to you on the date. Okay, because we're not voting on anything. All right, let's move on.
And Chair, if I would say,
Yes.
if we're going to wait until August on that, Commissioner, if there are other commissioners, whether in your district or not, that would serve on that task force, just know that we're ready to sit down at the table and have some very productive conversations.
All right. Okay, we'll move on to item number 2, approval of minutes
Motion
for
to approve?
May
Second?
28th. All right, all in favor, Alderman Blanton,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beggett,
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
The chair votes yes. All right, we are moving on to new business, consideration of amendment 2 for City of Franklin contract 2022-0289 for CM Smith for the Franklin Water Reclamation Facility post-expansion upgrades for a decrease of $206,262. Rochelle.
So this is for the non-competitive ARPA contract that we had with CDM to do some of the rehabilitation and kind of resiliency work out at the wastewater plant. If you remember, we had divided, you may not remember, this was years ago, we had that project into kind of 5 separate projects. We ended up, when we bid that out 3 times because the prices kept coming back a little higher than we expected. So we reduced the scope down to 1 project. So that left CDM with a lot of extra monies that they weren't going to use for inspection and for submittal review and that sort of stuff. So what we ended up doing is, about that time, TDEC came out with a requirement that we needed to create an asset management plan for the assets that were being installed as the requirement for the last 20% of our ARPA funding to get reimbursed for that. So we reallocated some of that CDM money to help us develop an asset management plan. And then kind of through all of that, smoothing out kind of the creases of that, we ended up coming up with a decrease in scope for them. So we need to document all these to get all of these changes turned into ARPA to kind of get all of those new task orders in line. That's essentially just what this is.
All right, do you have a motion?
Move for approval?
Second?
Any discussion? All right, how do we vote? Alderman Blanton?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beggett?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. All right, thank you. Number 4, consideration of City of Franklin contract 2026-0084 annexation agreement with Mark and Deidre Locke at 418 Cotton Lane.
So at the last C.I.C. meeting, you approved their sewer availability. This is actually, we've made those agreements, the annexation, the next one is the annexation, the next one is the availability, this is the annexation. These are the law templates that we have. We just have to have them reviewed with your approval before we actually get them executed.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, this is the annexation agreement, non-annexation.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not annexing, we're just annexation agreement that if we give them sewer, then at some time
At
in
some
the
time.
future, when we want them to come into the city, if other people are going to be contiguous to that property, then they would agree to do that.
We can start that, yep.
Yeah, okay. Do you have a motion?
I move to approve.
Second?
And do we have any discussion? All right, Alderman Blanton, how do you vote?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Beggett?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
The chair votes yes. Thank you. Number 5, consideration of City of Franklin contract 2026-0085 sewer availability agreement with Mark and Deidre Locke for 418 Cotton Lane.
This is the same thing. So your availability was contingent upon the execution of both of these
All right,
agreements.
do you have a motion?
Move for approval?
Second?
All right, Alderman Blanton, any discussion? Alderman Blanton, how do you
Yes.
vote? Vice Mayor Beggett?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. Number 6, consideration of Amendment 1 to City of Franklin contract number 2020-0141 with Southern Land Company, LLC, for road impact fee reimbursement agreement. Mr. Holzen.
This is the road impact fee final change order essentially for the work they did on Boyd Mill. This takes the price from $2 million to $2,282,243.89. And this essentially closes it out, and they're due the money given the amount of collector impact fees that they have paid.
All right,
Motion to approve.
Second?
do we have any discussion?
I'll just ask, and just to confirm, all the work is complete?
Yes, all the work is complete.
Thank you.
All right, Alderman Blanton,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Baggett?
Yes.
Alderman Potts?
Yes.
Alderman Berger votes yes. All right, thank you. Number 7. Consideration of Amendment 1 for City of Franklin Contract 2021-0247 with Popular Farms LLC for road impact fee reimbursement agreement. Paul?
So we had originally approved this contract with Popular Farms LLC, and they simply want to change the name to Meritage Homes of Tennessee Incorporated. No change in contract terms other than the name.
We're changing the contract name?
Just who we're contracting with for the
Just who you're contracting.
impact fee agreement.
And it-
Move for approval?
Second?
All right, and who was it contracted with before? What was the name?
Poplar Farms
It's just Popular Farm?
It was Popular Farms LLC. They just
It says
wanted,
Popular Farms here, but that's, I don't.
they're wanting a change to
Okay.
Meritage Homes
Yep,
of Tennessee.
no problem. All right, any discussion? All right, Alderman Blanton,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Baggett,
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
And Chair votes yes. All right, thank you. Number 8, capital project dashboard and status updates for June 2026. Jonathan?
The three things you really already know about is you approved 3 project bids on your Tuesday meeting. So you got the intersection work at Mack-Hatch Parkway and Royal Oaks. That was approved. Also approved the Liberty Park Bridge. That was approved. And I'm forgetting the other one off the top of my head. It escaped me. Lewisburg Pike, that's the one. Yes, thank you. Lewisburg Pike. So we're hoping to get all those underway here probably August, September timeframe, once we get the final contract documents signed and get pre-construction meetings.
Can I ask, they're gonna do the bridge first before any of the work in the park?
Yes, we have, they're making some final changes to the plans on the park itself to actually incorporate the pickleball courts that were kind of a late addition. So they're working to revise the plans for that right now, but we'll go ahead and start with the actual bridge itself. That's a separate contract.
We might get started in August, do you think?
I would say August, September, as soon as we get the contractor and get a pre-construction meeting
Okay.
and
And
get lined up.
when, can I ask also, when you're constructing the bridge, people cannot get in and out of the park at all?
we're going to try to work with the contractor and see how long we can maintain access, because we're not tearing down the existing bridge to put the new one up. It has to go away because we're realigning the roadway, but while they're building the new bridge, at least for the most part, the existing bridge can stay open. So depending on how much laydown area the contractor needs, it really depends on how much area the contractor needs. If he needs more area to work, we may have to close it earlier than we thought, but we do have a stipulation in there that maintains access at all times for at least city staff, so we can get back to the salt facility and things like that.
Yeah, do you have any idea how long it will take to build that bridge?
We have a contract time of, I believe it is 4 months right now on that. Because I mean, it's a standard. Well, it's not a standard. It's a modified large box bridge, kind of a slab bridge. So it's not overly complex to build. It's just
Okay. So I'll have people asking me that for the
Yeah.
dog park.
worst case about 4 to 5 months would be
And
how
then
long it's
the little
closed.
farmer's market we have over there too.
Yes.
Okay. All right, anything else, guys?
Chair?
Yeah,
Quick question.
go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Could you mentioned the Mack-Hatch or Royal Oaks piece. Could you go into, I know that I believe the details were changed just a little bit. We had asked for a review for sidewalk and crosswalk right there. Can you kind of go into a little bit of an update
I can.
on that?
That request came in after we had already contracted with a designer to do the roadway improvement plans that we were working with TDOT on. So those are not in the current plans, but that's something we can still incorporate as a change order into the current plans.
Okay. All right, good. And would you do me a favor and keep me looped in on that piece of
Absolutely.
it? Because I actually not only live adjacent to it, but it's also in Ward 3.
Absolutely.
And want to make sure that we're being forward thinking about the connectivity that's required right there, as well as increase of traffic that we know is actually also going to occur when we make these improvements.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Will do.
All right, and would you remind me, I know that we've talked about the pedestrian access piece right there, but I do see a lot of people riding their bicycles a lot of times on McHatcher because there's a little bit more width on the side of the road. I want to make sure that we address that, and I also want to look at. I know we got creative recently on striping regarding.
Yes.
Instead of making the lanes wider for the vehicles, we actually made the lanes a little bit more narrow to create that outside line, to create more width for bike, pedestrian,
Yes.
etc.
Now, we have less control on McHatcher itself than on the side streets. Side streets, we can do pretty much what we want, but.
Okay. Yeah, if we can just take a look at that, I think that'd be
Absolutely.
great. Okay.
Anything else? All right, going once, twice.
Motion to
All
adjourn.
right.
That will be my living legacy or my
Yes, it
dying
will.
legacy.
We gotta get you a shirt.
Wait a minute, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Sign us out.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jonathan.
absolutely.